ask you something right now. What if today was the day your excuses died and your greatness was born? What if everything that's held you back, your doubts, your fears, your setbacks, weren't signs to stop, but signals to rise? See, the truth is this. The only limits that exist are the ones you choose to believe in. And when you shift your mindset, you shift your reality. People out there are waiting for the perfect moment. But let me be brutally honest with you, there is no perfect moment. The moment is now. The power is now. And it begins with a choice. A powerful mindset isn't about being fearless. It's about facing fear and moving forward anyway. It's about taking pain and turning it into power. It's about refusing to be defined by your past and instead being driven by your purpose. Let me break it down. Your life is a reflection of your standards. If you want a powerful life, you need powerful beliefs. You don't get what you want in life, you get what you tolerate. Stop tolerating mediocrity. Stop tolerating self-doubt. Stop tolerating the lie that says, I'm not enough, because you are enough. You were born with everything you need to rise. But understand this, growth is not optional, it's necessary. Life doesn't reward comfort, it rewards courage. The people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, they weren't born with more than you. They simply decided to commit, decided to fight, decided to believe. You don't need more motivation, you need more movement. You need to act, even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one's clapping. Because that's when the breakthrough comes, not when it's easy, but when it's hard and you push anyway. So, here's the truth. You were never meant to play small. You weren't designed to shrink in the face of adversity. You are here to grow, to rise, to lead. And the first step, own your mind. When you command your thoughts, you command your destiny. When your mindset becomes unstoppable, your life becomes unstoppable. So here's your moment. Decide that enough is enough. Decide that fear no longer has a seat at your table. Decide that your future is bigger than your excuses. Get up, move, speak, build, fail, learn, win, repeat. The world is not waiting for someone perfect. It's waiting for someone committed. You have the power. Now use it. Because a powerful mindset doesn't just change your day, it changes your life. Let's go. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world, and that lens determines everything. It's not just a set of thoughts or beliefs, it's the engine behind every decision you make, every action you take, and every result you experience. When your mindset is weak, the smallest challenge becomes an impossible mountain. But when your mindset is strong, even mountains become stepping stones. This is the ultimate truth that so many people overlook. The quality of your life doesn't depend on your circumstances. It depends on how you think about your circumstances. You can put two people in the same situation, give them the same problems, the same setbacks, the same struggles, and one will break while the other builds. What's the difference? Mindset. One sees failure as a dead end. The other sees it as feedback. One gives up when the pressure rises. The other gets sharper, stronger, more determined. This is not magic. This is mental conditioning. This is mindset in action. People often chase motivation thinking that if they just feel good enough, they'll perform better. But motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. Mindset is the climate. It's the environment you live in. You don't need a burst of inspiration to act when your mindset has already been trained to move forward no matter how you feel. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals, between dreamers and doers. A powerful mindset creates consistency, and consistency creates results. The truth is, you are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. But if your mindset is trapped in those stories, then that's what you'll keep reliving. You'll keep finding reasons to stay stuck, to hesitate, to avoid the discomfort that comes with growth. A limited mindset will chain you to your history. A powerful one will launch you into your future. This is why mindset is more than just positive thinking. It's not about ignoring reality or pretending everything's fine. It's about confronting reality head on and choosing your response. It's about realizing that your external world will always mirror your internal world. If you live in fear and doubt inside, your world outside will reflect that. If you lead with confidence, clarity, and certainty, you'll attract opportunities, people, and experiences that align with that energy. Think about the times in your life when you're most alive, most driven. You weren't waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. You weren't hoping things would just magically get better. You decided, you made up your mind. And that decision, that shift in mindset is what set everything in motion. That power is still inside you. It never left. It's just waiting for you to wake it up. But a powerful mindset doesn't happen by accident. It's built deliberately, repeatedly, and intentionally. It's choosing to feed your mind with ideas that strengthen you instead of stories that weaken you. It's training yourself to speak in the language of progress, not limitation. It's surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to level up, not people who keep you stuck at their level of comfort. Mindset is a choice, but it must be made daily, sometimes moment by moment. There will always be noise, external opinions, past trauma, self-doubt, but mindset is what helps you filter out the noise and tune into your own voice. When your mindset is aligned with your vision, there's no room for hesitation. There's no space for excuses. You move with purpose. You act with intention. You don't need validation. You're powered by your own mission. Everything begins to shift, not because the world changed, but because your mind did. Decisions are the unseen force that shape the direction of your life. At every moment, you're standing at a crossroads, even when it doesn't feel like it. Most people drift through life reacting to circumstances instead of choosing their path. They wait for certainty, wait for confidence, wait for the stars to align. But the truth is, life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards decision. One powerful decision can shift the course of your life forever. A single moment of clarity, backed by a bold decision, can destroy years of doubt and redefine your destiny. There's a reason why the most successful people are decisive. It's not because they're always right. It's because they're committed. They understand that progress begins where indecision ends. When you hesitate, you leak energy. You lose momentum. You give fear room to grow. But when you decide, truly decide, you eliminate distraction. Your focus sharpens. Your body follows. Your habits begin to align. Everything starts to move. Most people think that decisions are about gathering all the facts, taking time, thinking it over. But deep down, you already know what needs to be done. You already know the move you've been avoiding. You know the relationship that no longer serves you, the habit that's dragging you down, the dream you've been putting off. You know it, and yet you delay. You tell yourself not now or maybe later. But that delay is the silent killer of dreams. Every time you delay a decision, you strengthen the chains that hold you back. A real decision isn't made with words, it's made with action. You can say you're ready, but if you're not moving, you're not deciding. You can write goals, make lists, talk about change, but until you act, nothing is real. The most powerful decision is one backed by immediate movement. Not when you're certain, not when you're comfortable, but now when it's hard, now when it counts. Understand this. Not deciding is a decision. Choosing to wait is still a choice. Choosing not to take control is still taking a path. It's just one that leads nowhere. If you want to change your body, your business, your relationships, your self-worth, it begins with a decision. A decision that says, I will not live like this anymore. A decision that says, my past does not define my next step. A decision that says, no more excuses, no more delay, it's time. It's not about being fearless, it's about being clear. Clarity creates confidence. And that clarity comes from choosing, not waiting. Even when the path ahead is uncertain, even when the risk feels heavy, decide anyway. Because indecision doesn't protect you. It paralyzes you. It keeps you in cycles. It traps you in comfort. And comfort is the enemy of growth. Your power lies in your ability to decide who you want to become. And to back that decision with relentless commitment. Every transformation story begins with a line in the sand. A moment where someone said, that's it. No more. And everything after that changed. They didn't have all the answers, but they had certainty. And that certainty came from a decision. You're not waiting for the right time. You're waiting for the courage to commit. And that courage is created through action. Action reinforces belief. Belief shapes identity. Identity shapes destiny. And it all begins with a single courageous, no turning back decision. Every time you choose growth over fear, discipline over comfort, action over excuse, you are writing the story of your future. Decisions shape direction, and direction shapes destiny. Not someday, not when it feels easier, but now, in this moment, with full ownership. Excuses are the stories we tell ourselves to feel better about staying stuck. They're the comforting lies that protect us from the discomfort of change. They sound reasonable. They sound logical, but they're nothing more than chains, subtle, quiet chains that keep our potential locked up and out of reach. Everyone has them. We all use them at some point, but those who rise, those who break through are the ones who stop listening to them. Because the truth is, your excuses are not your truth. They're just your fears dressed in disguise. You've heard them before. I don't have enough time. I don't have the right background. I'm not ready yet. What if I fail? These aren't facts. They're scripts, automatic responses your mind gives you to avoid pain, risk, or uncertainty. But if you keep rehearsing the same script, you keep living the same story. And that story will never evolve until you rip the excuses out by the root and face the uncomfortable reality that you're capable of more, but you're holding yourself back. Excuses are seductive. They offer you comfort. They offer you protection. They offer you a way out, but they cost you everything. They cost you momentum. They cost you self-respect. They cost you opportunity. Every time you choose the excuse, you give up a piece of your power. And eventually you begin to believe the lie that you're stuck. Not because you are, but because you've accepted the story that you can't move forward. You gotta get brutally honest with yourself. Ask, what excuse am I still using to justify not becoming the person I know I'm meant to be? What story am I clinging to that keeps me small, safe, and unseen? Because until you confront that excuse, it owns you. It controls your choices. It drives your behaviors. And it builds a life of regret disguised as reason. It's easy to blame the world, the timing, the circumstances. But if you're always pointing outward, you never take ownership. And without ownership, there is no transformation. Excuses are the enemies of responsibility. They allow you to shift the blame, to stay the same, to protect your ego. But your growth demands that you stop protecting your comfort and start protecting your potential. That means taking full responsibility even when it's hard, even when it's unfair, even when no one else will. There will always be a reason to wait, a reason to pause, a reason to quit, but there will never be a better reason than the one that says, I am done living beneath my potential. That reason kills every excuse. It slams the door shut on all the small thinking that's held you down. It lights a fire that turns maybe one day into this is the day. If you want to change your life, you must become ruthless with your excuses. Call them out, challenge them, replace them. Every time you feel one rising up, pause and ask, is this really true? Or is this just fear talking in a clever voice? Because fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers in words that sound practical. It'll convince you to play it safe, to wait it out, to lower your expectations. But behind that voice is a quiet truth. You're scared of failing, scared of judgment, scared of not being good enough. And that fear hides behind excuses. But here's the key. Once you see it for what it is, it loses power. You don't have to believe every thought you think. You don't have to accept every excuse your mind hands you. You can choose to rise above it. You can rewrite the narrative. You can demand more from yourself, not because you hate where you are, but because you know you're meant for more. You don't need easier paths. You need stronger standards. And that begins when you stop tolerating the excuses that have been holding you back for far too long. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in the human experience. And for many, it's the invisible wall that stops progress before it even starts. It's not just the loud, obvious fears that sabotage us, like fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of judgment. It's the quiet ones too. The subtle fear of not being good enough, the fear of outgrowing the people around you, the fear of trying something new and being seen as a beginner. These fears don't scream. They whisper, and that's why they're dangerous. They operate in the background, shaping your choices, shrinking your vision, and keeping you exactly where you are. Most people run from fear. They avoid it. They build their lives around minimizing it, but what they don't realize is that when you run from fear, you're also running from growth. You can't expand your life while shrinking your courage. Everything you want, your goals, your next level, the life you dream of, exists on the other side of fear. And you don't get there by waiting for the fear to go away. You get there by facing it. Facing fear doesn't mean you won't feel it. It means you move forward with it. It means you recognize it, acknowledge it, but you refuse to be controlled by it. Fear only grows when it's avoided. But when you step into it, when you look it in the eye and say, you don't get to run my life, that's when everything starts to change. You build strength, you build resilience, You build identity. Every time you choose to move through fear instead of being frozen by it, you gain power. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the mastery of fear. And mastery comes through repetition. The first time you do something scary, your mind screams. It tries to pull you back into safety. But the second time, it screams a little less. And the third time, even less. Eventually, what was once terrifying becomes familiar. The edge becomes your normal. That's how growth works. You expand by exposing yourself to the very things you once thought you couldn't handle. And this is the thing, your fear is not proof that you're weak. It's proof that you're on the edge of something meaningful. If it didn't matter, you wouldn't be afraid. If it wasn't tied to your purpose, your fear wouldn't be triggered. So instead of running from it, start interpreting fear as a compass. Let it guide you to the work you were meant to do. The conversations you've been avoiding, the leap you've been hesitating to take, the new path you've been eyeing but haven't dared to walk. All of them are waiting for you on the other side of fear. But you must stop negotiating with fear. Stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect or for confidence to arrive. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you earn through action. And every time you act in the face of fear, you train your nervous system to believe that fear doesn't mean stop, it means go. That shift is everything. That's where the breakthrough lives. Fear is clever. It disguises itself as logic, caution, and practicality. It tells you to play it safe, to think it through, to take your time, but underneath that voice is a deeper truth. It's trying to protect you from discomfort. It's trying to keep you from stepping into the unknown. But here's the paradox. The unknown is where all your growth lives. Safety doesn't lead to greatness. Comfort zones don't build legends. If you want to live a bold, meaningful life, you've got to stop listening to fear and start leaning into it. Every moment you face what scares you, you chip away at the illusion that fear is in control. You take back your power. You stop being the victim of your feelings and become the leader of your life. Fear will never fully disappear, and it's not supposed to, but it's not your enemy. It's your invitation to rise, your invitation to grow, your invitation to step beyond who you were yesterday and become who you were always meant to be. Perfection is one of the most paralyzing illusions we've ever been taught to chase. It whispers in your mind telling you that unless everything is just right, you shouldn't start. Unless you're fully ready, you shouldn't try. Unless the conditions are perfect, the timing flawless, the outcome certain, it's better wait. But perfection is not a goal. It's a trap. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you planning, preparing, thinking, analyzing, but not moving. And what actually changes your life? Movement. Not theory, not ideas. Action. Progress is messy. It's imperfect. It's uncomfortable. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's putting in the work when there are no guarantees. And that's what separates people who try from people who transform. Those who wait for perfection are still waiting. Those who commit to progress are growing. Because progress means you're doing something. You're testing. You're failing. You're learning. You're evolving. Even the missteps are moving you forward. So many people believe that if they can just get everything figured out ahead of time, they'll avoid mistakes. They won't get embarrassed. They won't be judged. But here's the raw truth. You will make mistakes. You have to. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the path. Every skill you now take for granted, every win you've ever had, came on the other side of failing first. Yet perfectionism convinces you to fear the very process that's required for mastery. You don't become excellent by avoiding failure. You become excellent by committing to repetition. You get stronger by doing the thing over and over, even when it's hard, even when it's ugly. Waiting to be perfect before you begin is like refusing to go to the gym until you're already in shape. It makes no sense. Growth doesn't come from getting everything right. It comes from staying consistent when things feel wrong, off, or uncertain. The idea that things have to be perfect before you take action is just fear in disguise. It's your mind trying to protect you from rejection, from embarrassment, from discomfort. But what it's really doing is robbing you of progress, because you can't learn if you don't start. You can't improve what doesn't exist. The first draft, the first version, the first attempt, it's supposed to be messy. That's how you get the feedback you need. That's how you stretch yourself into new capacities. Progress over perfection is a mindset that frees you. It liberates your energy from overthinking and puts it into creating. Instead of asking, is this the best? You start asking, is this a step forward? And that single shift unlocks momentum, because momentum doesn't come from standing still, trying to make everything flawless. It comes from movement, from small wins, from stacking actions day after day that compound into breakthroughs. The people who create real change in their lives aren't the ones who have perfect plans. They're the ones who are willing to fail forward. They are willing to take risks, to launch before they're ready, to speak before they're polished, to lead before they feel like experts. And in doing so, they gain something far more valuable than perfection. They gain progress. They grow faster. They become bolder. They build confidence from action, not from theory. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start, and then you need to keep going. Not perfectly, but persistently. Every step you take, no matter how small, is building momentum. Every small action, every tiny victory, every uncomfortable rep, those are the things that change you. And the more you embrace the idea that progress is what matters, the more fearless you become in your journey. You were not created to live a small, average, or mediocre life. Deep inside you, there is something powerful, something limitless that's been waiting to be awakened. You weren't born to merely survive the days, go through the motions, or play it safe. You were born to become unstoppable. That doesn't mean life will be easy. That doesn't mean you won't face obstacles, setbacks, or doubts. But it means that at your core, you are wired with the capacity to rise above anything that tries to hold you down. It's not about what you have or where you started. It's about what you decide to activate within yourself. You don't need to be given permission to rise. You don't need someone to open the door for you or hand you the opportunity of a lifetime. The opportunity is already inside you. The only question is, will you answer it? Will you wake up the potential that's been buried under fear, excuses, and old stories? Or will you keep pretending you're not ready, not worthy, not enough? Because the truth is, you are enough. You've always been enough. But somewhere along the way, you bought into the lie that you needed to prove it, that you had to become someone else to be powerful, that you had to earn the right to be great. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become you, fully, boldly, unapologetically. Every experience you've had, every failure, every success, every heartache, every victory has been shaping you into someone capable of doing extraordinary things. But if you don't believe in that power, if you don't own that identity, you'll live a fraction of the life you were meant to lead. Being unstoppable isn't about never falling. It's about never staying down. It's about getting back up every time life tries to break you. It's about choosing to believe in your mission more than your fear. Greatness is not found in comfort. It's forged in fire. It's found in the moments when you want to quit, but don't. When you want to run, but choose to face it. When everything inside you says slow down, and you still take the next step. Being unstoppable means you don't negotiate with your goals. You don't lower your standards to fit your feelings. You lead your life. You don't follow your emotions. Emotions are real, but they're not the ruler of your destiny. Your commitment. That's why discipline matters. That's why consistency matters. That's why mindset matters. Because power isn't a one-time event, it's a pattern. You become powerful by practicing power. You become unstoppable by showing up when it's hard, by doing the work when no one's clapping, by believing when there's no evidence yet. That's when identity is built. That's when grit is formed. That's when momentum becomes unstoppable. Too many people wait for life to get easier before they show up fully. They wait for clarity, for resources, for support. But you don't need perfect conditions to move. You need a decision to stop playing small, a decision to stop hiding, a decision to take the lead in your own life. Because if you're not leading it, someone or something else is, and nothing feels more painful than knowing you're capable of more and choosing not to act on it. There is something inside you that the world needs. A message, a voice, a gift, a fire. And it wasn't given to you to be hidden, postponed, or silenced. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be willing to step up, willing to get uncomfortable, willing to do what most people won't. That's what separates the average from the great, the temporary from the timeless, the invisible from the unforgettable. The world is full of people who stopped, who settled, who silenced their fire. But that doesn't have to be your story. You have the spark. You have the vision. You have the responsibility. You were born to rise. You were born to lead. You were born to be unstoppable.